gonna lose.
It's lose-lose for casters, but it's win-win for fans.
Ah, there
Got
you go. And we're sitting here in our nice studio here in Australia. You can't touch us. We can vote for whichever team we like. That's actually a good topic. Who do you actually think is going to take this game? I'm going to ask you before we get into Champion Select, so you're not pushed one way or the other.
I am not going to answer that. I will reserve any sort of bias.
Boo. All right, I'll ask you after Champion Select. Now I'll bring in the context of compositions. But we have Jace coming out here. I believe Graves as well from EDG, while RNG have found away Varus and LeBlanc from Scout.
Yeah, so far pretty standard bans from red side. The question is always going to be who prioritizes what in blue side. Things have dramatically shifted. So before 7.3, blue side had an astronomical win advantage over red side. Since swapping to 7.3, red side has really started to peak up. You think about the strength of things like red side Varus, getting that second rotation, the fact that there's more available kind of over-tuned champions or things have been settled down. So we'll see who gets what punch first.
Kha'Zix picked up here, or banned away rather, from RNG, and that's an instant lock of Camille who was left open. And when we look towards a series like the last one, it was just like, can these top players play it? Well, we know Mouse can, so he's going to insta-lock that one, and we know it's going to be strong.
That said, there's still available champions like the Gragas, which we've seen kind of globally peak as the answer to Camille, or one of the answers. Likewise, Renekton still exists as a champion. So the question for me now is, not necessarily that RNG have a wealth of options to deal with Camille in the top lane, but where they're going to pick it in their draft phase.
Yeah, and which one of those is it going to be as well? First pick will be Elise, so Graves off the table, and that's where MLXG is putting his focus. It was pretty much going to be Elise or Lee Sin for him, honestly, and then looking towards their next pickup as well.
And this is also who you have to look to kind of be the leader and step up for RNG. MLXG, when RNG have looked best, it's not when they're playing around Uzi, it's when they're playing around their jungler. You know, it was Mata and MLXG teaming up and being that battle ward team where they would lay deep vision in a jungle and just beat enemy teams to that rotation and pick up kills. We know that MLXG has the temperament that he can still lead the way, but will the rest of the team follow suit?
Fire Lolly picking up the Gragas there. Will probably go into top lane, which means that Camille will flex into either jungle support or somewhere else. Or the Gragas could go anywhere. There's so many flex picks at the moment, it's difficult to actually say where they're going to go. Echo as the final lock-in for the first rotation over to EDG.
Yeah, and that is quite clever. You know, we talked about kind of the wealth of options available to the Camille, and now suddenly things get very unclear about, is it Gragas jungle, Gragas top, you would assume, and then Camille support. But we've also seen Camille played in the mid lane, although the Echo's there. So I'm going to safely say there's probably Gragas top, Camille support, Echo mid, but who knows?
My money's on Camille jungle, and if I nail it, I look like a god. If not, then I'm just a play-by-play. On the opposite side, we see RNG lock in Karma, along with Syndra as well for Xiao Hu, so he's got himself his power pick. Back as RNG for their bans as well.
AD carry kind of the shared pinch pool, so you would think that would automatically give RNG the edge if they start target banning ADCs because they get first pick out of blue side. But I like the fact that they take away the Malzahar, so still trying to really carve out this identity that we will have the pushing priority bot lane because we have the Karma. If they want to double down on that, I would look towards the Zyra ban.
Malzahar banned away from EDG. Renekton banned away towards the top lane. The fact that they ban Renekton put some question marks in RNG's head. Is like, wait a minute, is that a Camille top lane so they don't get the Renekton into Camille, or are they just trying to play with us? And Tam Kench as well as a support ban towards Maker.
Yeah, and we did see that a Jhin was hovered very early in the draft phase by RNG. Spikes a bit more, itemizes better into the utility, but this could also make Ashe an incredibly potent and powerful pickup here for RNG.
And the question marks continue as Fiora is also banned away from RNG, another pretty good pick into Camille. There are windows for her to deal with it. And now RNG looking towards their ADC for Uzi. A lot's going to be falling on this man to perform well. And we all know a good old-fashioned Uzi Ezreal, so that would be fun to see, even though there are multiple options available, such as the Jhin or even the Caitlyn, but the ADC of choice will be Ezreal.
And he gets a lot of freedom to do this because he does have the Karma support next to him. You know, he doesn't need to prioritize that wave clear. He can go for the more self-sufficient or powerful option. Ezreal still feels really nice in the meta. His big problem has always been his ability to compete for wave control and wave clear in general, but Karma shores up so many of those weaknesses.
Instant lock-in though from EDG's Zet, and he will be picking up Caitlyn along with Mako, thinking about what he wants for support now. And Zet, gotta be keeping track of this, man. We say he's kind of filling in the shoes of someone like Deft, but he's really been making a name for himself. He has had some standout performances. In particular on that Ezreal pick. So yes, while Uzi is also a very strong Ezreal player, it could be a denial away from Zet, because it's kind of been Jhin and Ezreal as the two standout champions, and it's just funny to see, you know, we don't get to see Uzi's Caitlyn, instead Zet gets the Caitlyn. We don't get to see Zet's Ezreal, instead Uzi takes it away. Mako will lock in Nami as well, so you have a high pressure bottom lane, just try and keep down Uzi, but they also have the Karma to combat that. And it will be the final pick now from RNG, and it should be a top laner, which will be Shen, which is a nice kind of neutral pick, because they just are trying to figure out where the Camille and Gragas are going right now along with the Echo. Also has good matchups into pretty much both those champions. Gragas, I think, plays a bit better into Shen than Camille, although it's very dependent on about how the matchup plays out. And it looks like it is going to be Gragas jungle. Yeah, but we are going off the fact of what we can see off our screens right now, and if you translate that up to RNG, you have a Shen mid lane and a Syndra top lane, so there's still 10 seconds remaining for EDG to swap it around. And hopefully RNG as well. There we go. We have the swap up to Syndra mid lane, and it just looked like it will be Camille in the top lane. So we rarely see Gragas jungle anymore. There used to be a time when the jungle was dominated by Gragas Rek'Sai, but it's been a long time since then. I mean, his jungle clear speed is a bit slower than the kind of the big meta junglers right now. He did get a bit more sustained kind of back into his passive, and I believe it was 7.2. Yep. But again, we've seen that mostly exploited in the top lane. He has good matchups against Camille. He can pop her out of his ultimate. He can match into Shen well, because when Shen goes to taunt, he can belly bop forward and get 3-second cooldown back on it. But we'll keep our eyes on Fire Lolly. Hopefully it doesn't fall too far behind. Yeah. The Fire Lolly has been getting better and better, I actually think, from week to week. There was some doubts about him and about his play, but he has been quelling a lot of those doubts in recent weeks and recent games, so it will be really cool to see. And we highlighted before for us, and I'm just excited to see the laners go toe-to-toe. I mean, the thing is Fire Lolly across from Clear Love, especially a performing Fire Lolly, is never a question about who has better mechanics. I think it's quite neutral there. It's a question of who actually leads EDG. We know that Clear Love is a big voice in the shot calling for EDG, and we've seen their macro play kind of fall out in the mid-late game. Hasn't been as clean. That's why they're just kind of floating there and really reliant on individual peak performances. So again, Fire Lolly, great player mechanically, but can he be the voice that EDG are missing in their team right now? Many questions as we head into EDG versus RNG. And player for player, pound for pound, it's difficult to say that there's any weaknesses in either lineup. They can definitely match up as we head onto the Rift for a match of the week, and I would say match of the season so far, RNG versus EDG. And the place that we're all going to be looking to start is that jungle. So Fire Lolly takes the Gragas. It's not some sort of strange flex pick here, whereas MLXG gets the comfort champion in Elise. And the thing is he gets Elise paired with Syndra as well as with the Karma. We said RNG are at their best when they're playing around their jungler. They have the tools that if they ever get control of their lanes, invades and skirmishes over the jungle are very much in their favor. We're starting off the game with essentially the lines of scrimmage. Everyone is lined up. As we take a look towards the keystones, I think everything is pretty much normal across the board. Yeah, Thunderlords. Actually, Thunderlords on Gragas. Maybe we were wondering if that was going to be like Courage of the Colossus or something. So Fire Lolly wants to be able to at least deal with whoever looks to maybe try and invade him and deal some damage towards him in his early clear. Gragas is good against kind of low mobility champions like Syndra. Can really help threaten and break the mid lane tower. That was kind of the big thing for Gragas jungle is, you know, that was kind of the big era of Victor. If Gragas jungle pops out and steps forward the tower, you almost instantly have to give up pressure because of fear from Cask. That said, with the, what do you call it, animation, channel time, cast drop time changes, it's taken away a lot of that power. Yep, just a little bit slower. Easier to react to. bot lane. Uzi already pushing in here with Ming. Zet just trying to farm underneath his tower as well. Man, I don't even know how he landed that Mystic shot, but somehow it landed. 60% to 40%. Glad that we saw the fan vote there as well. Over to RNG. So fans are with them. And I think from so far from past performances, if you're just looking at objectively, you would give it to RNG, but who knows what EDG can do and turn up today.
I mean, it's the all-Chinese team, so you have to think that there would be a louder voice behind RNG, despite all of EDG's fantastic international success that they've brought China.
Sure. MLXG heading towards mid lane. Has double buffs. Xiaohu pushing in. I was looking for the stun to Scout. Maybe they could have lined it up with a Cocoon as well, but Scout a little too fast on his phase dive. So instead, MLXG will look towards top lane, where Mouse is pushing up very far.
And we should be, it should be noted that MLXG hasn't been spotted yet. They could suspect where he is, but it was actually a ghost leash from Let Me on the red buff. So they don't actually know for certain where Elise is.
Bot lane's getting pushed around. I don't think like Uzi's missed a Mystic shot yet. All of them seem to be like, alright, that one missed, but it hit a minion, so he still hasn't missed. Jump over the wall from MLXG. He'll just go back into his jungle, so he was in fact just placing down that vision. Uzi caught out in the bottom lane. Lolly will follow after. That's first blood going over to Zed. Ming will flash the Aqua Prison. First blood down onto Uzi and over to Zed.
Again, Fire Lily started the blue buff, but as did MLXG, so jungler is opposite sides of the map. Fire Lily strikes first there and punishes Uzi. Pretty much perfect CC chain with burst. He still has flash and he's dead.
Still has flash, and typically it's very difficult to gank an Ezreal early game as soon as he gets Arcane Shift, but Fire Lolly made it happen. He used his own flash to be fair, and Mako also invested resources, but that's Uzi's heal, exhaust, and flash away from RNG's bottom lane as Mako is fighting Ming here. Just a bit of poke back and forth as Ming was just trying to stall the minion wave for Uzi as he came back in there.
Yeah, and he actually did a pretty good job. I believe Uzi only lost maybe 3 or 4 creeps collectively off of that death. Obviously never a good position to be in, but he's got his Cole now as well as his Fairy Charm, so just looking for the long-term farm lane. As I say that though, he's like, nope, step forward,
yeah.
punch them.
I need to go back in. I need to regain some of these deficits that have accumulated. As that gets poked up once again. But Uzi, he's just going to take away this minion wave. Fire Lolly is taking the long waddle down to bot lane. But
He's
his
going
bot
for
lane,
his Krugs.
yeah, they want to back away. So he'll go Krugs. Maybe he'll stick around, but his work is done in the bottom lane for now. Mid lane Scalp gets hit by Xiao Yu, but he's out of mana, so there's no kill threat. He's also not level 6 just yet. And Scout will be looking to go back to base. Multiple on the way pings from both teams, so maybe you're looking for the junglers to head over there in a second.
You would think the focus at this point would actually be towards acquiring neutral river vision, as well as both junglers, well, Gragas more particularly, farming up to level 6. So one of the cool things about Gragas that still is retained, despite his movements away from jungle, is his ability to level 3 and level 2 gank, and how effectively he can do it. Unfortunately, because Ezreal still has his flash, it doesn't give him just like a clear-cut route to immediately go back and gank bottom. Uzi's still very safe there despite not having the heal, so I would expect that Fire Lily is just going to be like, it's fine, I'll farm it to level 6, I'll try to see if we can find something else. Whereas more pressure on MLXG to kind of find some sort of response. His level 6 obviously not meaning nearly the same thing as Gragas.
That's what Fire Lolly is looking towards. He just hit that level 5 and he is slightly ahead of MLXG, who also dings level 5, so it's not too much of a differential. We haven't really touched on top lane just yet, just because nothing's really happening. It's just a farm lane. Mouse hasn't even gone back to base yet. He's still sat on that one Doran's Blade. And MLXG is invading over towards Fire Lolly, who is low on mana himself, and Mako is also on his way up. So there is one chance, one opportunity for maybe an Aqua Prison to land, but he's a little too fast on 8 legs. Mid lane, Xiaoyu damage onto Scout, but again, just a bit of back and forth. So nothing to write home about. And finally, we get to take a look at top lane. Good taunt there from Let Me. Will take a lot of damage from tower, but he'll hook shot away. And remember, he hasn't got back to base yet, so he has the opportunity to use his teleport. We have aggression into the bot lane from MLXG. He turns human form as he knows he's not in range for repel, and EDG back away.
But again, the onus is on MLXG to make a play right now. We know that Fire Lily just kind of wants to farm towards level 6. MLXG kind of peeking his head into the jungle, seeing if he can get a duel off. Good initial collapse from EDG, and even better, Scout's doing a phenomenal job keeping Xiaohu busy and locked down in the mid lane. So this Elise has kind of been unable to team up with Syndra and exploit side lanes or exploit jungle matchups.
maybe they'll get the chance to do that with level 6 being... now that Xiao Yu has level 6, that's a better way to phrase that.
As well as his blue buff.
And the blue buff, so maybe he will try and push the wave in, that he has a better mana regen, and look towards one of those side lanes. Top lane has finally gone back, and Mouse has gone for the Tiamat actually, so he's just trying to get pushing pressure against Let Me instead of going for the initial Triforce. MLXG is being invaded by Fire Lolly. Scout also here to apply the pressure. And it's going to be the kill there as well. Over to EDG onto that Raptor. Mako taking a beating, but Zed is just eating all of these Mystic shots. And Uzi is not missing at all this day.
Just contesting every single farm, but speaking of contention...
Scout's going to jump in here, and the red buff's going to go over to MLXG with the smite coming down. And he'll want to go back to base. Fire Lolly is dangerously near level 6. Mouse about to... get over that horizon of the level 7 himself as well. There we go. And so far, lots of interactions, but only one kill so far to EDG.
But not for lack of trying, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But this is normally something we expect of RNG. We expect them to be the aggressors, you know, moving into the jungle. So EDG, particularly against Scout, doing a great job making sure that Xiaohu is locked down, that Syndra's not beating him to the inside track, and instead has to go all the way around to secure red buffs.
Top lane, Let Me trading off against Mouse. Nice punish there with a hook shot. And adaptive defense has come up once more to even up that trade. Nice bit of healing as well from the tactical sweep. And he'll go down into River. Place down a bit more vision to keep himself aware of MLXG's position. And it's just business as usual, going through the motions right now for both teams.
Okay, but now that Fire Lolly is 6, he does have more pressure on Xiaohu or that Syndra. Yes, he has the flash, and so that's what EDG should be looking to punish right now. They want this 2v2. They want to punish.
They're trying to open it up. Scout over the wall will get the stun down. Oh no, the flash over the wall from Xiaohu. The outplay, the kill onto Fire Lolly. Scout under attack. Nice sidestep away from the stun, but it's not going to help him out of this situation. Scout also falls, but another kill over to Xiaoyu. That's a 2-for-1 trade.
And we said that EDG, you know, they felt confident. They wanted to take the 2v2, but they did not want to take the Fog of War 2v3. Let Me gets down there with the Stand United. It is a 1-for-2 trade, but still in RNG's favor, and they're now looking to collapse on top side, forcing Camille to back.
Now, Camille did deal a nice bit of damage to that tower. That takes it down to around 50%, so every time that Let Me looks to roam, Camille will eat through those towers because the true damage does apply from the Q, but for now, Let Me will just stall him, and he's actually ahead on farm as well as he pushes this next wave in, so he's not in a bad position whatsoever. Lots of pings towards the bottom side. There is a good amount of EDG members here, so they may look for another gank. They know there's no flash or summoners from Xiaoyu in the mid lane, so Fire Lolly may look towards that lane for another gank, or towards the dragon.
Just controlling Scuttlecraft, there's no reason for them to be so far forward, especially when they don't have information about where the enemy jungler is, so why not just take the free control?
Bit of trade once more on top lane, but this is how it goes. As soon as Let Me wants to place down the Spirit's Refuge, Mouse will just hit him with a tactical sweep, and that's how Camille generally wins that matchup, but Shen will just push, and is, for the most part, unkillable, so it'll just be a farming lane. Mouse is waiting in the wings, but MLXG is there, lands the cocoon, lands the shadow dash, and lands the flash as well. That was unbelievably perfect from RNG. That was just by the book, and a nice kill to top lane.
But in immediate response, EDG suddenly swarm the bottom dragon, trying to clear out all the vision and maybe get something back for this. Maybe not brave enough to pull the trigger on dragon themselves. Even Fire Lolly is like, can I get Wolf Camp? Can I get Grom? And ultimately, it's nothing. MLXG takes his camp away from him on top of the kill.
Still, it was surgical. It was well played. But yeah, it doesn't culminate into anything much. Ming is chasing forwards onto Zeth and Mako. Mako will return with the Tidal Wave. Nice flash out of the way from the damage there from Uzi. Teleport now coming in from both teams, but EDG have priority. Ming backing away. Scout comes in. He'll chase after Ming. He just needs one auto attack from the Zed drive. Dissonance. Boom! Fire Lolly from off to the side will take him out with a big cask. Ming goes down. Uzi still alive. Xiaohu looking to catch him out. Just get a nice stun down onto 2. Unleashes the power. Here comes MLXG. Does not want to go in on that. And overall, it's just one pick to EDG.
The team fighting is crazy from both of these sides. The amount of juked skill shots, the amount of, you know, perfect placement, target priority, Scout using his teleport bottom just to apply enough pressure and buy time for Fire Lolly to get down there, and then ults back mid before trying to walk back bottom. In the end, it might be 2 structures for EDG because, again, Mouse just has his teleport back up. He didn't participate in the bottom fight. Yeah, it's a 2-for-1 punch.
Wow, 2 towers to EDG. That's massive at this stage in the game in terms of just golden pressure. Yeah, 20,000 to 18, just approaching a 19,000 mark. So let me push this up the top lane. Continues the farm war, but RNG will respond with the dragon, which is nice to have, but it's not the same as 2 towers.
It means a bit more because it's so early in the game, and it's more about, you know, that pace of the jungler setting how long they can stay out on the map, how long they can apply pressure through these ganks. But now that the bot lane has been unlocked from EDG, we move to kind of a different part of the game. It's now, where are we going to put our lane assignments? We do have double teleport. It's not up right now, but it gives EDG so much more freedom to play with these side waves.
Ming, great sidestep. Makeup discerning a way to keep up the vision game. Next dragon's going to be Mountain, so you have to feel like that will be a bit of a contest over that one from both teams. Set sieging up the mid lane with the rest of his team. Scout of just the zoning parallel convergence. But it's a little harder to take down that mid lane tower as there are multiple members from RNG there to protect it. Fire Lolly invading, and the fact that the Gragas is able to invade in the leads is just kind of says a lot about how this game has gone so far for EDG.
Yeah, and it says a lot about how much control all of the lanes have. Again, a lot of eyes and a lot of compliments given to Scout. I think he particularly kind of bled this advantage out for EDG, making good plays bottom, making sure that Xiaohu wasn't able to immediately act on the initial power spike of Syndra. And it's just kind of this slow, methodical whittling of bot tower, or excuse me, mid tower.
Yeah, even top tower. Mouse is continuing to push up. Maybe to his detriment as MLXG is trying to sneak into this brush. You can see not seen there. A few observers. Here comes Mouse, popping the ultimate, got the ultimatum. Nice sidestep away from the cocoon, but Mouse taking a lot of damage from Let Me. MLXG following after. Fire Lolly decides to back away with his ally in tow. Bot lane, Scout aggressing onto Xiaoyu. Unleash power, had the shield coming up. Let Me with the ultimate. Snaps back with the chrono break. Flash not available from Let Me. He jumps back in, looks for the assassinate. Xiaoyu knocks him back. Great sidestep away from Let Me. And everyone walks away.
And Scout picking up where Godby failed, looking for these 1v1 outplays and actually coming out successful. Yeah, he didn't get the kill, but he frankly did more damage by proccing the Shin Stand United. Ah,
There's some great reaction times as well. Like the sidesteps on the Shadow Dash close range is hard to do. That's like parallel to flashing a Malphite close range with ultimate.
I know like observers love to get like the big 5v5 replays, but so many of these smaller skirmish replays have been so impressive, even in just kind of the 2v2 trades that don't amount in any kills, simply because each player is playing everything perfectly.
Good to know that Mandarin Nami is just annoying in that in the spirit skin as every other server, so good to know. But absolutely, I would love to see that one more time. I'd just like half speed it as well for Scout, because he did so many nice things there on the Echo, and really just shows what you can do with the pick at the highest level. Regardless, 3-3 in kills, slight advantage to EDG, of course coming from those 2 towers advantage, but a lot of that is being made up in terms of farm right now, as Uzi still has that advantage in the bottom lane, while the rest of the roles are equal. We look towards the item builds and what that's actually meant. Still kind of gearing up right now. Remember, he picked up the call, so is still waiting to sell that one. Has the Gene being picked up along with the cooldown boots, and still gearing up for the Muramana.
And the reason why we've kind of hit a bit of a pause or a bit of a lull in the game is simply that EDG were applying pressure, particularly through that top lane attempt on Shin's life, when Zet was in base. So this is kind of this mid-game decision-making or shot calling that I was talking about on the analyst desk that EDG are normally so much more crisp at. There's no reason for Camille and Gragas to attempt on Shin's life or attempt a 2v2 if Caitlyn's not in position to also threaten a tower underneath.
To see the brick wall that Shen has become in the top lane as well. That's exactly what you want to go up against Camille. Remember, Shen was kind of one of the first answers to Camille that we saw come out of Korea, so it's still remaining strong. Let Me will jump on top of Mouse, and he's not going to kill him, but you can see how Mouse is actually just not really doing any damage to Let Me at all. So he's doing his job.
I mean, at this point, they're just going to push the waves back and forth into each other. And like you said, there's just too much safety in that lane in the 1v1. Shin with his taunt, as well as how he utilizes his W between Camille's Q, and then Camille, how she has the low cooldown on her E, and just how quickly she can get away multiple screens in a matter of seconds.
MXG is chasing after, though. Looking for the taunt here. Instant flash from Mouse. Yeah, lots of respect from the player in the top lane. He knew for a Shen to be waiting in the wings, he wasn't just looking for a positive trade. There's got to be an Elise around the corner. So respect from Mouse. And what a contrast as well from the first series of the day. You can see how well both of these teams are playing and respecting each other. Even in terms of mechanics and decision-making, stark difference.
But they know that MLXG is on the top side of the map, and so unfortunately for EDG, we're unable to afford themselves a counterplay. Firelily was actually caught out by a deep ward on the blue buff. And literally the best that they get is, we took Camille's flash top, I guess you lose Wolf Camp in response.
Not much really culminating out of these plays in the end. But in a slower game like this, there is pressure towards a Rift Herald, and that is really nice for Let Me, in fact. But there are two people committed to this objective, meaning that Firelily has a couple seconds to see if he can convert this into a play. Uzi and Ming are playing very defensively. Looks like a no.
And that was the thing, just not knowing exactly where MLXG was, because RNG have complete control over the top side. As soon as you saw the Void Rift go down, Firelily started to step forward, but like you said, Uzi and Ming, knowing that their only job is to absorb pressure, that EDG would have to look mid and just play self-sufficient on the Karma Ezreal.
Xiaoyu now going into the bottom lane. As you can see, that rotation from Uzi and Ming into the mid lane, so just culminating more farm and harvesting all that gold for himself. We're waiting on next Dragon, essentially, for both teams, and MLXG has beaten EDG to the punch on the crab, so has that vision and that shrine there for the next 90 seconds. Dragon spawning, and it is Mountain, so EDG would really like to contest it. But look at the gold, in fact, because no kills have gone down, no towers have gone down, but they have equalized the gold.
And yeah, like you said, you're completely even into a 5v5 now. RNG get control over vision by taking Scuttle Crab, but they don't necessarily stagger their backs. So there's technically a window here where EDG could try to burn it. That said, it is Mountain. It's the toughest or the tankiest of the dragons to take. And so we're setting the stage for a possible 5v5. And winner or loser here, if it comes to a 5v5, would swing the game open.
EDG had the opportunity to pull the trigger. If they had God Vision like we do Frost, they definitely would have done so, because there are 3 people just running from base. But they're going to play it safe. They're going to just use this opportunity to clear out these wards, knowing that there weren't everyone around from RNG, and there was no steal attempt from MLXG.
And RNG get the safety to have the confidence on making those types of backs, simply because they've done such a great job having constant pink defensive vision. So they know that EDG don't have any deep vision in their jungle, so they can just disappear into Fog of War, pull the back with the confidence knowing that EDG can't force Dragon, because they don't know where they are.
Power of vision right there, and you know, a team like GT would have just gone for it, but EDG are respecting RNG, and that's what they have to do. But they'll also strike when they see the opportunity. They jump on MXG, but they didn't get the kill. Letme's on top of him, chasing down onto Uzi in the mid lane. Ming dropping low, Mouse jumping after Uzi. He's got nowhere to go. The ultimatum pins him down, and Scout jumps away. The fans go wild.
And EDG strike first and end up chunking out both MLXG and taking Uzi's life. Great target priority, you know, Mouse finding that Ezreal. Scout now looking for more.
Ace in the hole, charged up, MLXG low, taken out, Z-Drive Resonance for the kill. Let Me dives onto Mouse, gets the CC down. Xiaohu unleashed power. Scout comes in for round 3, looks for the kill onto Xiaohu. Ming chases him down. The orb, not enough, but it will be Shen coming out with the kill.
And finally, EDG kind of overstep, overreach, and the Bear Claw chomps down. They get back, no objective traded.
And we're still on equal footing. That was a 2-for-2 overall. Nothing has really happened in terms of gold, other than the fact that RNG are starting to edge ahead. They have closed the gold gap on a very slightly ahead.
But EDG's mistake, they didn't need to overextend like that. Again, you killed Uzi, you chunked out MLXG. All you have to do is zone them off the structure. We take a look about how it started. It was the synergy between Firelily and Scout. Then Camille jumps on Uzi, and Scout does a phenomenal job just zoning off the rest of the team and chunking out so many members. But this is it. At this point, just continue to threaten with the potential dive of Echo and have Caitlyn do her job to siege up the mid tower. Because they overcommit, they lose the objective that they wanted.
However, both mid tower and Dragon are still up, so we could say the same scenario just play itself out once more. Let Me goes back to base, does not have the ultimate, but does have his TP, while Mouse and Scout have the same. Mako clearing up these wards, and after that fight, EDG have pressure over the area, which is the victory that they managed to get for themselves. Xiaohu stepping forward, Zed almost within range of Scatter the Weak.
He just sidestepped both the Karma Q, the Ezreal Q, and then caliber nets back from the scatter of the week. Like, people tell me that Zet is bad at sidestepping. Just go back and watch that clip again.
Yep. Just run it back, because Zet, honestly, has looked better from week to week. This man is really turning up. Big shoes to fill, but he's definitely filled them, and maybe more so. And he's got the biggest test in front of him, which is Uzi. And yes, he got that assistance from the jungle early on, but boy, has he made it work.
EDG now about to get information about where Syndra is. I was curious if Scout was going to immediately reposition himself with ultimate after making that back, but instead, just slow and steady. They want the mid tower. They don't want to apply pressure to the dragon. They have a pretty clear objective here, and they think they're going to get it overtime with Caitlyn.
I think they'll take it right about now. They have the zoning. Firelolly steps up. Zet takes it away. And EDG get their objective.
Again, set up by Scout, though. The fact that he pushed out bottom, that he pulled Syndra away. It's Karma, it's Ezreal. Ezreal's not known for his wave clear. He really relies on his support to do that for him. But ultimately, against the Caitlyn, she wins the war of attrition set up by this man.
Scout pushing the bot lane. Mouse pushing the top lane. And you can see this vision starting to creep into the RNG jungle. RNG still looking for those opportunities to fight back, but these skirmishes haven't quite gone their way because EDG have been pulling the trigger first. We're looking at power spikes now from both teams. The Infinity Edge and the Runans finished by Zed, while Uzi had picked up his Triforce for another big spike for himself. So RNG are powering up, but as are EDG. Crab taken away on the top side, and RNG are looking to fight back in this vision war, maybe trying to collapse on this top side. And you can see Mouse respecting it.
Yeah, also Xiao, who needs to be very careful. He wants to approach his blue buff area. And once where RNG had all of those beautiful defensive control wards, EDG, now that they've taken down mid tower, are able to kind of pivot into that jungle, clear out that defensive vision, and start moving their line more aggressively.
Again, RNG still pressuring the top side. They see Mouse back away, they go for blue buff. They still get something from this play. Assist pings come down. On the way ping from Ming. He's heading up there towards Let Me. They don't want to spook Mouse just yet, but he's waiting at his tower. He knows what could be on the horizon. Mako caught out. Uzi comes in, but he's got the shielding, staying alive for now. Zed takes a big amount of punishment from Neon's power, and Uzi comes in to finish him off. Firelord, his second kill. Uzi's turning online. Snap back with the chrono break, and he goes back to base, back to the bottom lane. He looked for the TP. 2-0, RNG with the advantage.
And we just said that Zet was doing such a phenomenal job sidestepping, but the one sidestep, Uzi just tags him with the Q, deletes him. RNG now moving towards the Baron.
Scout knows this. He'll convert this into the bottom lane tower. There's a push in the mid lane as well. Here comes the TP out from Let Me. Baron will go down to RNG. He'll get there in time to save it. Mid lane still being pressured. Uzi's on his way. They're not going to get it in time.
Huge loss from EDG across the board. Like you said, they can't translate it to any sort of tower, and now might be caught trying to get out.
Yeah, Let Me's too tanky to pick, but Mousey's found Uzi once again. He's been exhausted. Ming is chasing him down. Tactical tweet. Not going to be enough to keep him alive. Ming with the kill.
And suddenly, RNG in full control with the driver's seat, where their composition would struggle to siege, is now empowered with this Baron. All they have to do is walk the Syndra Ezreal towards the towers.
And it's a gauge once more, Mako getting caught out. It looked almost good for EDG as they were going to get away, but Uzi, he smelled blood in the water, and he took out his targets.
Comes forward, picks up Gragas after he's already tagged Zet, and then it's just Scout has to bail to immediately go back towards the bottom lane after he TPs into the fight.
Massive power play for RNG here. 5,000 gold advantage, 5 kill advantage, 5,000 gold advantage in total. And RNG have really just turned it on. This Mountain Dragon, which has been awaiting a Slayer for the last 10 minutes, will finally go down to RNG, and EDG are now on the back foot.
And if they want to, they can then just mosey down bottom and pick up another free objective. This is a huge Baron power play for them. And at this point, EDG, they need to be in full-on defensive mode. Get your defensive vision up, clear out your own jungle, and then just try to catch these incoming waves. Now, they still technically have double teleport pressure once those TPs are up, as well as decent wave clear between the Caitlyn as well as Gragas combo. Let's take a look at that pick. Poor Zet, just from Fog of War.
Yeah. Like, the guy can sidestep stuff, but if he can't see it coming, then it's a little harder, and RNG will exploit that fact, but look how they've really just turned this game around just in a matter of seconds. They know the pressure that they have. And Uzi takes it away with a sneaky Mystic shot in the end as well. Gets away with the robbery from top lane. Mouse will start trading against Let Me, but Let Me is an unkillable brick wall. 2-0 and 6. He's on 3 items at the moment, and Mouse was on definitely the losing end of that trade. Uzi and Ming are on their way up, but they want the tower.
Yeah, they suspect that Camille has actually backed towards the tower. They're trying to set up for a dive here. So good job on Mouse to make sure that he just backs into the brush. That said, nothing lost. They just grab the incoming creep wave and immediately turn on the structure.
Yeah, they have the mini wave coming in as well. We have Scout pushing down the bottom lane, keeping up pressure, but the fact that these objectives are so deep into enemy territory, it's really hard for him to get these. He is picking towards mid lane tower. There happens to be a creep wave, but he may be needed in the top side because they are going to lose this inner tower. And yeah, there's no way they are defending this. So Scout at the very least will trade mid lane tower for it, but he needs to get back right now. They're setting up a defense with Caitlyn.
They still have Gragas cast, so he can reset this wave and stall out time for Stout.
Yeah, they can't step up. And also, Uzi took a big headshot crit from Zet's line of defense. I say line, but it's, I don't even know what shape that is.
Squiggle?
That's squiggle of defense there from Zet. Let me pushing down the bottom lane, and they actually cannot deal with Shen. He's level 17. What?
He's been spending a lot of time in these side waves by himself, and technically, again, RNG is still in a great position. They have more control of the map. They get more towers out of that, but ultimately, EDG did trade inner mid tower for inner top tower.
Oh my god, Lemmy's just not taking any damage, trading off against the Camille and coming out ahead.
Level 14.
Yeah, level 14. 3-level differential. And each level is around, I don't know, 500, 600 gold. So even just that, on top of the 80 farm difference, on top of the 2 kills and 6 assists, he is massively ahead of that Camille. Xiaohu's on his way into the bot side. He's fully in fog of war, so any poor squishy that happens to go into that jungle now will get blown up by Xiaohu. Here comes Let Me, trying to tag him with the stun. Let Me is a little deep in now. Hextech ultimatum underneath the tower. Knock back Xiaohu with Let Me on top of him. But he's still alive. He's only down to half health. Ace in the hole barely scratched his armor. And in a tower will go down for RNG.
Frankly, a wasted Gragas ult. It really did nothing there. Good on Xiaohu to position himself correctly there. And again, a composition that kind of normally lacks the ability to siege as well as EDG's comp now gets to just approach these structures, throw out the Ezreal Karma poke as well as the Scatter the Weekend. There's nothing EDG can do. They have to play so far back.
I just want to compare and contrast RNG to some of the lesser teams in the league because they pick up the Baron and then instantly, in the next 30 seconds to a minute, there's vision all over the jungle of EDG and they're immediately on the back foot. They have to place down these defensive walls. They have to play so defensively because they make one misstep and RNG will just be there to meet them, and they have capitalized so well on this Baron.
And if you look at their cams, we know that Ming is the primary shot caller. RNG have been very public, very vocal, talking about how there's a lot of responsibility on this rookie to step up and lead the team. But you're starting to see, you know, MLXG and Xiaohu responding more, interacting with the team more, and kind of tying up those loose ends, which were otherwise exploited in earlier weeks. So again, it's that holistic maturing of multiple positions that have kind of led to RNG with this lead against a titan like EDG.
And we are definitely seeing it. Really, the test now is just seeing, can they hold it? And can they keep the play watertight against EDG, who will be looking for every opportunity to come back in? But with every role looking so incredibly strong, it's difficult to find that dent in the armor, honestly, for EDG to pick someone off and find the opportunity.
It makes the next Baron that much more important. So we're just buying time for Caitlyn. She's got her double attack speed as well as the eye edge, but she will need that armor penetration to deal with someone like Let Me, who is just so massive. So it's this race. If they decide to give away this Baron, is it enough to get Caitlyn over to that edge, and can they survive the next wave? Or will RNG be able to close on it?
Yeah, I think my money's on RNG closing out, because even with this advantage that they have right now, this 8,000 gold over to them, they are really pushing EDG as far back into their base as they can.
They also have a phenomenal dive comp if they choose to pull the trigger on that. Again, the poke elements from Karma, Ezreal, and Syndra, and then the dive elements from Elise and Shen. So can they do it? Will EDG give away the Baron and think that they can survive it? Will they just try to give away an inhib and stall this game out farther and farther? Or will RNG have the confidence and the execution to close?
I have the faith. 10 seconds left on Baron. RNG will look towards it. They have the vision set up super deep into EDG's jungle. Mouse recalling, but they are going to be late to the party. Fire Lolly pushing up mid lane, pushing out these minion waves, doing what they can. We have double the vision on the mini-maps. That's actually really cool. We can see the fog of war. They have zero vision of RNG right now. It's already down to a third health. is going to drop down with 0 contest from EDG. Xiaohu will be there to assist Uzi with the kill credit. Scout going to jump in. He'll snap back using the ultimate. Fowler jumps in. Mouse looking for the pick. Xiaohu has the Shen ultimate on top of him. Maybe looking to convert this into a kill onto Mouse. Dodges the taunt using the ultimatum. Fire Lolly comes in looking for an ultimate. Mouse dropping low. He wants to back away. Scout goes into Zonia, zoning away the backlines. First kill over to Mouse. Let Me finds one, finds two of the Shadow Dash, and runs down EDG. Mako nowhere to run. Fire Lolly has to go back to base, and RNG looking to finish.
The question of confidence and execution, Let Me does it perfectly. He stand United's into the fight. They know that they've caught EDG, that they'll step up, they'll try to fight them. They take the fight, picking up another kill on the back half of it. He then teleports back down to the bottom lane, has the creep wave waiting for him, and will break the Baron inhib, possibly the game here.
Yeah, Nami was a fish in the barrel right there as bot lane gets shoved in. That's the inhibitor down. Massive minion wave encroaching, and Let Me just doesn't take damage. 33 minutes on the clock, and RNG with a